I certainly feel that way. I think a lot of us feel that way, that the kids are really kind of the future. Do look in the newsletter for additional call to community. We have lots going on throughout the week this week, and we have a special guest in the back. I see Heather has visited us. Good to see you back. Hopefully the vacation is going well. It's good to see you as a congregant, Heather, for the day. All right. For this month of worship, our worship and programming theme is justice. Let us continue our journey together by entering into this sacred space where we can celebrate our connected circle of life. Breathe in feeling the spirit of love in the center of your soul, and breathe out that love towards all of your relations. Connected, we are whole. I also have a quote by Brene Brown that I want to include here about connection as part of entering this space. Connection, and this is based on research, connection is the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from that relationship. And now, we are going to do something a little bit different. Justin, if you'll put the chorus on the screen for Hard Times Come Again, Here No More. I actually first heard about this song when I visited the Stephen C. Foster Museum. Did anybody happen to know that that actually is in Florida on the Swanee River? Anybody been there? No? You have? Yeah.
I've never lived in Florida, haven't been.
It's an old song. And I'm going to sing it a cappella because I know it, because there have been a couple of folks that have done it, but you will hear this chorus, and when you hear the chorus, I encourage you to sing the chorus, and it will actually open up with the chorus. Actually, no, it will not. Yeah, it is. Okay. It is going to open it up with that. So you will hear me, and you're welcome to join me from the beginning, but I am going to sing this, and then you'll hear the chorus, and then I'll get into the main subject of the song, and then you can get into the chorus when you see it again. I'll point to you when you hear that. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary, hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music light and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though the voices are silent, their pleading looks will say, oh, hard times come again no more. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we sup with sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song of the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a pale, drooping maiden who toils her life away with a worn heart whose better days are o'er. Though her voice would be merry, 'tis sighing all the day. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song of the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis a sigh that is wafted across the troubled wave. 'Tis a wail that is heard upon the shore. 'Tis a dirge that is murmured around the lowly grave. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered outside my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. And actually, James Taylor does a version of that song, if you're interested in checking that out, along with Molly Mason and Jay Ungar, if anybody's familiar with them. Those are two of my favorite folk singers. And it is indeed a folk tune. It's actually done a cappella quite well. Opening words. Actually from Peter Morales. And if that sounds familiar, he is a former president of the UUA. And Peter Morales talks about experience connection. What does deep spirituality feel like to you? Spirituality is impossible to define and difficult to describe. For me, it feels like connection. Connection to myself, to others around me, to the earth and all of creation. Connection to myself feels like deep peace, awareness, calm, and authenticity. Connection to others feels like compassion, community, acceptance, and enduring love. Spirituality is not an idea, it's an experience. When I experience connection, dividing lines disappear. Inner conflict gives way to integrity. The line that separates my individuality from others fades, and we become one. I find connections with my deepest self in times of solitary practice and reflection. I find connections with others in community, often in worship. All the great spiritual traditions teach this. Today, the connection with creation, with the earth and the cosmos may be the most difficult. We live in an artificial, controlled environment that separates us from the natural world. More than humans in any other time, we live separated from the natural world, the world from which we emerge and that sustains our lives. We so very much need to experience our world. We need to let go of controlling our world and allow ourselves to become one with it. We find ourselves when we lose ourselves. May we connect, really connect. When we do, it changes everything. Now, please join me as we light our chalice. Ambra is going to come up and light our chalice as I read some chalice lighting words. The Holy Work of Showing Up by Ashley Horton. How is it with your soul? This is the question that John Wesley, Anglican priest and founder of Methodism, was known to ask of participants in small reflection groups. I ask you this today. For me, this has been a hard week. So, beloveds, how is it with your souls? If your response to that question is anything like mine, I want to invite you to pause as you read this or hear this. Take a deep breath, Say a prayer, sing a song, light your chalice, feel the force of gravity pulling towards all of us, and all of us towards the same center. Whatever helps you feel more rooted and less alone. Now do it again, and again, and again. And once you feel that rootedness and connection, hear this. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matter, and you are not alone. You are part of we, a great cloud of witnessing living and dead who have insisted that this beautiful broken world of ours is a blessing worthy of both deep gratitude and fiery protection. Our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward together toward greater connection. Together we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up, again and again, to be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. And I like that in particular as we light our chalice, because that is the light that we carry out into the world each week, and why we come together each Sunday to recharge, refill. Now, if you would please join me in singing Spirit of Life. I would sign it, but I have not memorized that sign language. You are welcome to sign as well if you know that. We're not going to make Heather come up. This is her Sunday off. So, Justin, thank you. And we don't have music, do we? We're going to try it a cappella. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. And we will not do the Spanish version today. That would be me singing alone. Oh, you can sing it? Okay. Let's do it. Ready? Put it back up, Justin. We're going to do Fuente de Amor. I can do it. Spanish version, please. Ready? Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí, y al corazón cántale tu compasión. Sopla volar, sube la mar, hasta mollar la justicia de la vida. Arrágame, líbrame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí. Y'all sing quite well. A cappella. We are now at the time in the service where we will share our joys and our sorrows. So let us turn to honor the weaving of our joys and sorrows that run throughout all of our lives. And we engage in this ritual each week as a way to nurture and a way to heal, knowing that we are all in this together. We do invite you to come up to the challenge table to place stones in the water for the joys and sorrows that you carry today. And if you are on Zoom, we will say your name and put a stone in so you know that we are together with you as well. So come on up and I will do some minor drumming, I suppose, since we don't have any musicians. Let's see, Justin, do we have anyone on Zoom that we need to put in stones for?
We do. Can you please put a stone in for Adam, Crystal, Jane Eskenazi, Nancy and Tom Morris, Petra and Joshua, and for Vassell, one stone for each color.
I also have a reading before we dive too much further in. My commitments to myself. And I thought this was fitting with joys and sorrows. This is by Laura Mancuso. I take care of myself first because I am deserving of exquisite care. I take care of myself to maintain the capacity to help others. I move and stretch my body every day. I spend time in nature, attuning my senses to the earth's wisdom. I ration my daily exposure to the news. I identify and access credible sources of information. I protect myself from becoming overwhelmed by information about the pandemic. I pace myself. I sit with the reality of uncertainty and impermanence and allow it to temper my desire for control. I listen without judgment to others' reactions, which may be different from mine. I forgive myself and others when stress brings out our shadow selves. I feel fear fully when I am fearful. I experience sadness when I am sad. I allow anger fully when I am angry. I relish joy fully when I am joyful. I seek out healthy pleasures and indulge in them without guilt. I remind myself that feelings are transient states that move through me. They do not last. They do not define me, nor do my thoughts. I balance my drive for self-improvement with compassion, acceptance of myself, as I am right now. I initiate contact with loved ones to let them know I hold them in my heart. I seek out with increased sensitivity those who are the most vulnerable. If possible, I share my resources with those who need help to survive. When possible, I move away from people, situations, and experiences that do not serve my highest good. I strengthen my connection to my sources of spiritual strength so I do not continue to be, or so that I continue to be replenished. I acknowledge that nearness of death as a key motivator for living a full life. I pray for the suffering of all beings to cease. I grieve my losses and celebrate my successes. I remain open to new ways of being, surprising sources of joy, and unanticipated discoveries every day. So today we're going to talk a little bit about justice rooted in love, and we're going to do a drum circle coming together in just a few here. But I do want to talk about, we have our little mission statement, love and connection equals transformation. I had something to do with putting that together and helping us move towards adopting that. But that's not really what I want to talk about, is why those words are important. I certainly love that that is our mission statement. It's very something simple and it gets people talking. It's some key words. But love, connection are really important. We actually, one of the things I've been doing recently is we've been recently connecting with two of the other churches that are more progressive churches here in Polk County. We are starting, and those churches are Beacon Hill Fellowship and Christ Promise. We're actually beginning to come together in some sort of group association, these churches, and our hope is that by beginning to build some sort of progressive church religious association, that we can begin to kind of grow progressive church faith communities here. That it's not just the extreme right that has the voice on religion, okay? And we want to be a counter to that in this county. Because there is not a counter voice for that, is there, unfortunately? There's not really much of a counter for that voice in the nation, unfortunately. So we're trying to come together and be a voice for those that don't have a voice. And we hope that by coming together, we will be able to build something and have an impact. Music, for instance, is one of the things that is kind of bringing us together. In fact, we have an August 20th jam session scheduled in the sanctuary. You're all welcome to come, between those three churches. So we have musicians and members from those three congregations coming, and we're going to be making some music together here on August 20th. And what we're going to do with that, we don't know yet. But we do know that music is bringing us together. That is kind of the call. And it's likely that we'll end up doing some kind of musical performance or some sort, public, spreading the message. Because the thing that brings all three churches together is love. That is the message that we're trying to spread. Humanity. And that we all value humanity, and every human has inherent worth and dignity, our first principle. So, today we're going to try to do our best to work towards rooting ourselves in love and connection, and let go of kind of any kind of self-consciousness. When we do a drum circle, everybody should get involved. You don't need to be a musician to be part of a drum circle. I'll give you some guidance. Religion also, to me, a little bit is pop culture. This is also why I love being a Unitarian Universalist, because it does allow me to take things like Star Wars, Star Trek, and The Big Lebowski and incorporate them into my spirituality. So thank you, you-ism, and Heather for encouraging me to kind of explore those things. Because for me, Star Wars, no, I'm not delusional and don't think I'm a Jedi with powers and whatnot, but it does guide me. Okay, I've been watching Star Wars since I was probably 4 years old. And it is such an integral part of me. I've been watching it all along. And there is talking about the balance of the light and the dark. Right? Even in Star Wars, there's something called a gray Jedi, which is kind of not really the light, they're not really the dark, they're in the middle. If there was ever a Unitarian Universalist Jedi, I suppose a gray Jedi would be it. Star Trek, also rooted in, actually has been very progressive. Star Trek is a world, and if you look at the world in Star Trek, the way the world, like our Earth, operates, it is humanity has come together in the world of Star Trek, right? It's not perfect, but humanity is working together. So science fiction, we got 1984, but to counter that, we've got Star Wars, where the light does win. Star Trek, where the world and the vision does see a world where we can come together. Okay? And it's not just love and joy and hippiness. That stuff can actually happen if we really want it to. And also I'll throw in a little Big Lebowski. He's very Tao, so Star Wars and the dude are very both Taoism, is what that's talking about. And again, it's the balance of the light and the dark. There's also a story that I shared with a friend of mine. This is how I keep my light alive a little bit. So music, Star Wars, Star Trek, the dude. And also I shared a recent story. Anybody familiar with the phrase, "Let's go, Brandon"? Yeah. Well, when I first heard it, I kind of joked. I was like, everybody's cheering me on. Has anybody heard about the news story in which there was a little boy on the spectrum? Anybody hear this story on the autistic spectrum? You've heard this. So I won't go into the full article, but I can send it to anybody if they're interested. But there was this little boy and by the way, Let's Go Brandon came out of NASCAR. Negatively, unfortunately. There was a NASCAR driver named Brandon. I forget his last name.
Brown.
What's that?
Brown.
So long story short, this young man on the autistic spectrum thought essentially that "Let's go, Brandon," he thought they were cheering for him. And you know what? His mother let him think it, and he was excited, and he accomplished this. And this is actually, they've written a book now. Brandon spots his sign, and it's got the race car driver that is not supportive of "Let's Go Brandon," by the way, and this young man have come together and they're buddies now. So my point there is we can flip the script on "Let's Go Brandon." So I'm just pretending that "Let's Go Brandon" is everybody's cheering me on. And I thought it was phenomenal that this race car driver and this little boy ended up coming together over this. So they're flipping the script on these things. And also, "Let's Go Brandon" is probably the dumbest chant I've ever heard in my life, right? Okay, and I'm just picking on folks that are chanting that. I'm like, wow. And you see bumper stickers. I've got friends will actually just, because my name is Brandon, will send me pictures of bumper stickers. I'm like, wow, so many people are fans of mine. So it's kind of flip the script and reframe it. So, and this is why I work in mental health, motivational interviewing. That's one of the things we do is we reframe. You take something that's negative and you reframe it as a positive. And it doesn't mean sarcastically so. It takes, you know what, I'm going to take your negative thing and I'm going to reframe it into maybe it's a good thing. That we're saying, "Let's go, Brandon." Also, I know I'm a little all over the place. It's going to come together. One of the other things that keeps my spirits up, I don't know about you all, podcasts. Podcasts keep me going. One of my favorites is called Hidden Brain. Anybody familiar with that one? Hidden Brain. All research, evidence-based, which is why I like it, and I usually learn something significant, or it usually makes my brain go, holy cow, that's amazing. So, one of the things, and I'm going to introduce this to you and give you a second to kind of do this. But there was an experiment done, and they had people do meditations. And when you meditate on people suffering, like if you think about specifically about something, you could even think about somebody you don't like. You could even think of Donald Trump, okay? And think of him suffering. Okay, you might get pleasure out of it, but let's try not to do that. Because when the research says, let's not pick Donald Trump, let's pick somebody a little easier to empathize towards, perhaps, or maybe that has earned our empathy a little more. Although he is human, he deserves empathy. But let's think of somebody maybe you have a hard time with. Could even be me, for instance. Who knows? But when you meditate on empathy, and when you think about that person's suffering, you end up and you connecting and you try to empathize with that person. And this is based on research. When you think about that person's suffering and you think about empathy, the more you meditate on that, and they've done brain scans, empathy increases when you simply meditate on someone else's suffering. When you're actually trying to be a compassionate person. And you're like, oh, you're trying to picture somebody that I don't like very much. I'm picturing Donald Trump in my head right now. I'm picturing him suffering. And no, I'm not getting pleasure out of that. Because I don't want to see him suffer. Okay, I really don't. Okay, as much as he might enjoy seeing me suffer, I don't want to see him suffer. Because I don't want him to turn me into somebody that I am not. But I thought that was really interesting, is when you meditate on, and I'm quite serious, when you meditate on people's suffering and you're actually trying to connect with compassion, you actually increase your level of empathy. And you actually practice empathy. And the more you practice empathy, the better you get at it. Empathy should be practiced. So, take a second right now. Close your eyes. Get comfortable. Think about someone. Let's not pick Donald Trump. Let's pick somebody that maybe it's a little easier. But let's pick somebody maybe you don't like so much. And think about them suffering. Whatever that might be. Were they in a car accident? Were they in the hospital? You can make something up. But and take a second. Picture that. Imagine that. And feel compassion for their suffering. Think about that suffering that they are experiencing. Can you feel it growing just a little bit? And the more you meditate on that, the more it will grow. So just think on that. Feel the empathy and compassion for that person. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Take a deep breath. But I did want to have you take a second to reflect on that. We want to grow our compassion for other people, even the people that maybe necessarily don't deserve it. I also did a recent Facebook post. I was having a major day of major reflection, and one of the things is kind of why I keep coming back to empathy, compassion, love, connection, is we do not want to become what we are speaking out against. That is, and don't get me wrong, none of us can be perfect at that. But we do not want to become what we are speaking out against. So, I don't know about you all, but when Trump ran in the first place, in 2016 or whatever, he was getting elected, I was trying to warn people. Because I was very fearful of this human being. I'm not hearing empathy, compassion. I'm not seeing him being the kind of human I want to be or want to see leading this country. Okay? It was not about whether he was a D or an R. I don't really care so much about that. There have been plenty of R's that I necessarily haven't voted for, but I like them as human beings because I could hear the compassion when they spoke. Let's talk about John McCain, for instance, okay? I don't like everything about him, but or agree with him on everything, but he was a decent human being. I could tell that just by the way he spoke. I do not want to become like the Trump person or the Trump supporter that is bashing me, telling me how awful I am. And even in this county, we have organizations like the CCDF that are speaking out against LGBT folk. and how we are predators and converting people and whatnot. No, I'm not going to become what they are. We do not want to become what we're speaking out against. That's why we come back to this place every Sunday, at least for me, why I come back. I want to get rooted in these principles, rooted in my values, because I do not want to become a hateful person. And it is hard in this world to do so. These are probably some of the most historical times that I want to say that most of us have lived through. Those of you that have been around a long time, this has got to be some of the more interesting times I would imagine you've lived through. We are all flawed, but we do not want to give in to fear and anger. And on that note, I'm going to go back to Star Wars. Master Yoda says, "Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering." There is wisdom in that. One of the other things that I have been reflecting on is Thich Nhat Hanh actually has a talk about this. It's about a 2.5-hour talk on YouTube. Is we have to learn how to suffer. We have to learn how to suffer, meaning how to work through great times of suffering. And I don't know about you all, but again, these times are interesting. And I think there are folks that are suffering more, some folks that are suffering less, but we are all likely suffering in some way or another, whether it be mental anguish, physical anguish, you name it. But we do have to learn how to work through that. I'm reading a book, The Lightmaker's Manifesto. How to Work for Change Without Losing Your Joy. Karen Wolber. She's got a quote. "I will never apologize for embracing joy and beauty, even when the world is falling apart, because joy and beauty are my fuel for activism." Both she and Brene Brown talk a lot about happiness and joy and beauty. And transformation actually comes up quite a bit as well. Joy is kind of one of those emotions that you can find anywhere. So when I talk about motivational interviewing and how you can reframe things, when we talk about joy, you can find joy anywhere, in anything, even in suffering. You can kind of take something and find some joy in it. Even the worst moments, you can find something to be grateful for. The person that is helping you, for instance, if they are offering help. So that's one of the things that they talk about is you got to find the joy. Find the gratitude. Find the joy. So we talk about empathy. That is a way to kind of come back to empathy is, one, you have to kind of be empathetic and find joy for yourself. Okay, but if you're going to do that for yourself, you got to do that for yourself and you got to give that to others. But think about what Karen is saying there. "I will never apologize for embracing joy and beauty, even when the world is falling apart, because joy and beauty, again, are the fuel for activism and bring us together." So, I want to get into a little drum circle. Talk about joy and beauty. So this is where, grab a percussion. Does everybody have percussion? If you don't, come get percussion. And we're going to have some fun, or at least I am.
I'm enjoying that.
Thank you. And we know it's a little funky. Heather will be back with us soon. Yes, get percussion. We got eggs are easy. We've got unique, yeah. There you go. There's a chimer there. We've got everything. We've got all kinds of stuff. So, anybody ever done a drum circle before? Yes? All right, so drum circles It's about letting go, just having fun, don't overthink whether you are a musician or not, okay? Everybody has rhythm. Meaning, you can at least do, you know what else to do? On the feet. Okay. First we're going to go a little wild, and we'll just see what we can come up with independently. Then I'll do a guided drum circle. Do a different rhythm there. Find where you can add. That's okay. What can we do when we do more guided drum circles? What can we come up with? So, what I'll try to do this time is I'll come to kind of each group or section and kind of point to you, try to give you a little rhythm or something to do. Okay? So let's see. Maggie. So if you'll wait, what I'd like to see what we can do if it's slightly directed. If we can come up with something a little more of a pattern, a little more beauty. So if you will do simply, you can do something. Can you do that? Keep doing it. John, you want to add to her? There you go. You can just do. Keep going. And you go. Good. Nice. That's her. There you go. You guys got it. Okay, over here. Let's do something different. All right. So, you do that. Back and forth. Yeah, there you go. Same thing with the tambourine either. Tambourines are good with hands. There you go. Keep going. Right? Find somewhere in there. How do you feel? There you go. You got that. Add a little rhythm in there. You can go. However you want. Find a little rhythm in there. Yeah, it's got it. Now you can go hold it. Yeah! give yourselves all a round of applause. I know it's a little different, but my point in that is when we work together, we can create something beautiful. We can create joy. And that is, more than anything, what keeps us all coming back here. Even if it's a little funky service, you still get to feel a little uplifted. You still get to experience and see things from my perspective. And then whoever comes up next week and our different worship associates and Heather guiding us, we continue to move forward. We will continue to build connections with the other churches, with the people in our community, and we'll continue to grow. Jeanette is connected with the NAACP. I really see great things for this congregation as we continue to move out of this pandemic and towards the future. I have way more hope for us than I do fear. Because I do think, ultimately, I really feel like the culture is changing. The culture is changing. And no matter how many laws and whatnot they try to pass, we're not going away. Okay? And there are more, honestly, when I talk to people, there are more of us. There are more of us that have love at the root of what we're doing. And if we stay rooted in love, we can build a better place, a better world. We can move towards that place, like Star Trek, that has a world that is working together. And I do not think that is a ridiculous vision. I actually think it is something that can be quite beautiful. Let us share our abundance and let's get y'all going. I realized it's going a little past there. We've now come at the moment when we can share our treasures with this community as an act of faith. When we each give what we can, we come back to life, we serve a greater good, and create a powerful beauty that can change the world. Our ushers are coming around and passing. Normally we would have some lovely music. And there is one song that I am going to have you sing. Justin, if you would throw the basic words on the screen there. There's one song, y'all know this one. Or most of you do. Number 95. And this one is a relatively easy one. And then we're going to get things wrapped up here. So, there is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. Hope. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. Joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Closing words. Be the blessing that you already are. John Gibb Milpaw and Sarah Gibb Milpaw. Oh, let's see. In our religious tradition, it is not just ministers or religious professionals who have the power to bless. Each of us has the power to bless one another and to bless the world. Therefore, I invite everyone here to participate in this blessing. The words are ordinary words, but we make the blessing real enough through our shared intention. So, as we have been blessed, so we bless one another to be a blessing. Breathe in, breathe out. This blessing we share with all that breathes. Feel the love of the universe throwing through our community into you and out into the universe again. Let the love of the universe, your love, flow outward to its height, its depth, its broad extent. You are more than you know and more beloved than you know. Take up what power is yours to create safe haven, to make of earth a heaven. Give hope to those you encounter, that they may know safety from inner and outer harm. Be happy and at peace, healthy and strong, caring and joyful, and be the blessing you already are. That is enough. Blessed be, and amen. I think our Board of Trustees has something, Justin, before we extinguish our chalice, as an announcement for us. Do we have a representative that will be speaking?
Maybe. Just 1 second.
Okay. Or that appears to be Justin. So there is some kind of announcement, I was told, that I don't know anything about. So. I guess.
Okay, so Brandon doesn't know this is happening, because all I told him was, there's a presentation from the board, and it's a secret, and don't worry about it, it's not controversial or anything like that. And he was like, okay, I'll believe that when I see it. So, believe it. Jenny, can you see me, or am I like standing way off center? Thank you. So, there's also a card, but Brandon was on the board and served as a board chair was on the board for what, 2019 to 2022?
My first year, I started off as the board secretary, so I've been on the board for my entire time here, more or less, one way or another.
But officially,
Officially, I was on the board in 2019 or something.
Okay, good. I didn't want to make sure I got the date right.
Yeah.
So, we have a card and a gift card too to Crafton Kitchen. But also we made this like little photo collage with your name written on the board.
That's lovely.
Yeah, nice frame. So that's non-controversial at all, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to present this to you on behalf of the members of the board, and I'll make sure I get the other stuff to you as well.
Thank you.
So congratulations. Thank you very much.
Honestly, as much work as it's been, and I've complained, certainly, it has been I'm still here. So, I'm here because I want to be here. And I will say the Board of Trustees has been a place of extreme stress, absolutely, but also extreme reward. Because that Board of Trustees, I don't know if y'all don't know anything about them, they work really hard. Every board member that I've ever encountered, from the first day that I've been here till now, everybody loves this community. And everybody's motivated. We might disagree on some of the details, but we really love and care about this community, and everybody works hard. Please now join me in extinguishing our chalice. Justin, if you'll throw those words up there. And thank you, Amber, for coming up. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. I do have one more little thing for you. Parting words, my benediction, a world of beauty and love is coming. And this is, I borrowed from Elizabeth Berkey, because I really like this. Spirit of life, love which holds us, we gather in reverence and thank you. We are grateful for the gift of another breath and for each moment of connection, beauty, and truth. Cry with us in our pain for our world. Remind us that we are loved just as we are. Remind us that we are connected with all that is. Remind us that we do not journey alone. Give us what we need for today. Call us back to our promises, commitments, and values. Help us love ourselves and each other and to show that love in our actions. Make us all instruments of justice, equity, and compassion. From us, from all that is evil, we declare that life and love are stronger than tyranny and fear, that a world of beauty and love is coming, and we must shape it together. May it be so. Amen. May the force be with you and the dew abides. Bring your percussion on up front if you get a chance. Thank you for humoring me and putting up with me for today. Do we have Heather back next week, or is it the following week? I think it's the following week. We'll see. We'll have Heather back soon with us. And live long and prosper. We did forget that one. I'm more of a Star Wars versus Star Trek, but I do like Star Trek.
Unfortunate for you.
I love all these pictures.